I guess by now you're probably sick of conversations surrounding Update 5.2, and really, I am as well. I feel as if Battlefield 5 has let me down again and again over the past 13 to 14 months. Whether it was the release trailer, whether it was the deluxe edition fiasco, and all the rubbish surrounding cosmetics, it doesn't really matter. The game itself has been a major disappointment. I had a bit of time off the other day, a couple of hours in the morning, so I decided to scroll through Reddit, the Battlefield 5 subreddit to be specific, just to see what was going on. I know Reddit doesn't really account for the majority of the Battlefield player base. There are a load of players, to be honest probably the vast majority, that don't even go on Reddit or Twitter and just enjoy Battlefield when they can, and then get on with the rest of their lives. That being said, Reddit does give you a nice insight into what a lot of the hardcore Battlefield fans think about the game. Update 5 was very well received. The Pacific was a great update to Battlefield, as I've said in previous videos. It was everything I wanted it to be. Sure, it needed a few more maps, it needed a team balancer, some anti-cheat and a few more bug fixes, but overall, we all have to say that it was a very nice update. Update 5.2 though, well, that was very controversial with the TTK change, and even with this recent 5.2.2 change, the TTK is still here. Now, this is an interesting post by Gomi Gimmers that was posted on Battlefield 5's subreddit, and he's basically explaining that this TTK change is basically what DICE tried to implement a year ago, and you'll probably remember back, I made a few videos on it. DICE made a massive overhaul to the TTK. There was huge outrage, and then they pulled it back just a little bit to kind of the middle ground between two TTKs to make people feel as if DICE were listening to the community and doing a good thing, but also they got the changes that they wanted. We were then told 12 months ago that this would never happen again, and like clockwork, here we are in the same position with the same videos and the same comments and the same posts on Reddit. You could be forgiven for thinking this was a Groundhog Day scenario, the same thing over and over again. In order for Battlefield to succeed in the future, DICE are going to have to take a serious look at the way they update their games. Previously, in Battlefield 4, similar things did happen, but because of the CTE, it was usually limited before anything made its way to the main game. We had changes to vehicles in Battlefield 4 that I certainly didn't agree with, but what DICE did was made the change, stick it in the CTE, got a lot of people testing it, and then when it was approved and when it all worked properly, they moved it through to the main build of the game. Sure, Battlefield 4 was a bit of a disaster on launch and it took a while to get it into that playable state, but again, we saw it with Battlefield 1. A massive TTK change midway through the game's life. Some of it was good, some of it was bad. A lot of people didn't want to see these massive overhauls though, and it's a real shame that DICE continue to do this. It's a bit dishonest in my opinion, because they often say and really like to hang on to that mantra that they do listen to the community and this is the best community in the world. Right now I'd say that Battlefield is not the best community in the world. Loads of you people that watch this video, you're all great, but as a community I think we could be doing a lot more, as DICE are a part of that community and they're really letting us down. Now, you have to remember this isn't an attack on specific devs. There are loads of devs that work at DICE that are absolutely superb at the job they do. If people realised how much of a colossal job it is to update a game and get it through all of the certification and onto the different platforms, that in itself is a major hurdle. But considering what they've achieved in the past, I really think they've set a bar and they're continually failing to reach it. For the next Battlefield game, DICE really need to spend a bit longer working out what they actually want from Battlefield. And that's kind of the main point of this video. What is Battlefield right now? Operation Sandbox is something that DICE have really gone on about quite significantly for the past few patches. This means a battlefield where everybody can take part doing lots of different things with hundreds of different options, not only when choosing your loadout but when in game. Battlefield 4 is the perfect example of this. You can do virtually anything in that game, whether it's 1000 meter sniping or getting up close and personal on flags, taking vehicles, jets, helicopters, pulling off awesome top plays. You can do all of it just on one conquest server. In Battlefield 5, that's not really been the case, although it did improve significantly with the Pacific, proving that DICE do know what they're doing in terms of that sandbox feeling. They have people in that development team that really know what it takes. The thing is with BF5 is I'm still not sure what they want the game to be. Is it supposed to be some noob-friendly, slow, spongy, long TTK mess for these Christmas players? Or is it supposed to be a hardcore shooter? Attrition that came in was supposed to be the ultimate hardcore experience. Not something I wanted or got on board with, but if that's what they wanted and they really went for it and that was their angle with Battlefield, almost like an Escape from Tarkov style game, really unforgiving, but just dumbed down a bit for this 64-player Battlefield audience, I could kinda get on board with that. But that's not what happened. Attrition got cut to pieces and it really disappeared, and now it's a shadow of what it was supposed to be, and if anything just makes the game worse to play. Vehicles, another example. We were supposed to have some really interesting vehicles with massive customization and lots of different tanks from the Second World War with awesome plane warfare, amazing animations, being able to crash your plane into the ground and get out. Again, stuff that I didn't think the franchise needed, but it never really materialised. 5v5 maps come from a 5v5 mode that never got its feet off the ground. We had Combined Arms, a massive Battle Royale Firestorm map, all of these really quite big side projects that never turned into anything. It's such a waste of resources, and it seems as if BF5 is trying to reach out and take a bit from every single genre, instead of focusing on what Battlefield does best. And that is really embodied by Battlefield 3, 4 and even Battlefield 1 that got a lot of stuff right. For this next Battlefield game, when it does release in 2021, I'm assuming at the end of the year around October, we need to be seeing a game that drops with a real core focus. Is it going to be like a Bad Company 2 with Rush at the centre, or a Battlefield 4 with large conquest maps? What is it that we're going to see? I think DICE really do have the ability to create an awesome game. A bit of Battlefield 4 footage has been threaded through this video just to give you an example of the sort of stuff that I was hoping to see in Battlefield 5 at this stage. Obviously not Modern Warfare, but the way that the game flows and you just feel completely engrossed in this amazing sandbox experience. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. I feel as if many people will agree with me here that Battlefield 5 doesn't really know what it is, especially with these updates that to and fro from TTK to TTK and change to change, spotting and then no spotting, this and that, and it just seems as if DICE themselves don't know what they want the game to be, never mind the community, who are notoriously difficult to please. I'll finish this video off by saying what I think DICE need to do to BF5 to fix it. I think really their focus needs to be on getting the players that have been loyal to the franchise, the people that still play a couple of hours of Battlefield 5 a week, and those hardcore fans that play it every day. You've got to keep those involved in the game. You need those players to be talking positively about Battlefield in order to get them to act as your marketing to bring in new players. If there's a positive vibe around the game, lots of people will come in and play it. If you then reinforce that with DLCs in terms of maps, content, little events, things that just get people excited in that Battlefield 5 game, you're going to be seeing a positive experience. This would start with pleasing the community right now with a TTK change. Whether it's the right thing to do, I'm not sure, but it will definitely please the community. Bring back the 5.0 TTK, then maybe tweak a couple of weapons. Maybe you could say, well, we're sick of the meta being the fast-firing ZK and Tommy guns that have 50-round mags killing people, so tweak it slightly. Add a slightly longer reload to a weapon. Just buff a fire rate a teeny bit on a weapon. Just fiddle with it that slight bit to kind of give people something a little bit different, but not a massive overhaul. Tweak it bit by bit until you get the game into a better place. I'd also say that you need to bring more love to those side communities that you've created, such as the Firestorm community, who have been left on the side of the road without any help at all. It's a real shame that maybe there's only 100 or 200 people that really realistically play Firestorm a lot, but still, you've created that mode, you need to make sure that you're updating it as was promised. That's the problem. You can't promise these people a great experience and then, well, not deliver it at all. I find that quite annoying. As I said, leave your comments down below. I always enjoy reading through them on these discussion type videos. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.